Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Emmy Potter. Emmy Potter, how the hell are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in during the coronavirus.
Oh, well, I'm doing my best.
You don't have it yet. You look like you're totally healthy. You don't seem to have it yet. Emmy Potter is fine, everybody. She does not have it, contrary to popular belief.
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Martin Scorsese on my sweatshirt is also doing okay.
I thought he was Roger Stone, but either way, it's hilarious. The sweatshirt she's wearing, and will you be wearing that sweatshirt on stage in New York City? And where can people find you do that? And where can they find you online?
I do. I love a novelty T-shirt. I own way too many of them.
Good. So she'll wear that on stage.
So I have been performing I have an all-female writing group called A Great Week for Women, and we did have a monthly show at Caveat. We're currently on a hiatus.
So you're writing for sketch or for stand-up?
It's, it's kind of, our show is a little more of satire, and so reading satirical pieces, and then if I host, I tend to throw in a little bit of stand-up too to get the show started. So we took a little bit of a hiatus because we had a year. I had a couple of our members had cancer.
That's awful.
I lost two grandparents, so it's been a whole thing. This is not to bring the mood down in the room.
Please do. We want to go wherever it's going to
go. But yeah, so I'm on a little bit of a hiatus, and I am actually doing a lot of writing because I'm also a playwright, so I'm actually writing a new play.
Oh, cool. So and that probably takes a while, so that will bring you up through your next Caveat show.
Yeah, so if we resume, it's normally on we do it on Sunday nights. So
and she will have written a play by then. And to track all this, are you Emmy Lane Potter online?
Online, yes. On Twitter, Instagram, you can find me at Emmy Lane Potter. Emmy like the award.
Yes, which she'll be winning someday. In addition to the Tony, she'll EGOT with the best of them.
Yeah, and then Potter like Harry. So,
Harry. Yeah. I guess I totally changed it to Mary, the Jimmy Stewart impression. Okay, so now what we're going to be talking about really quick is a funny idea you had, which was internet boyfriends. And so you are really just lusting after people and you I think you mentioned, was it Oscar Isaac, and the other one was Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
And what do you think that he just took an age-appropriate lover?
I mean, I think it's great. I also think it's bananas that we are so accustomed to seeing older men dating younger women that it's
he's a hero.
Yeah,
he's a hero.
Oh my
Fawn
God.
over him, worship him. Yeah.
He's dating a woman that's actually in his correct age range. Sound the alarm. No, I mean, it is kind of wild that we assume that they're gonna pull a Leonardo DiCaprio and always be perpetually in their 40s dating 20-year-old models. Yeah. No, I love an internet boyfriend. I think.
Yeah, what are they? Define internet boyfriend in Emmy Potter's universe.
I think an internet boyfriend it's definitely someone that we have all collectively decided to thirst after online. Okay. I think it's a particularly thirsty time online.
And thirsty is super horned up.
Just super, and I think some men are uncomfortable because women are particularly horny online.
Why is that?
I think because it's finally we feel like it's even though the internet is not a safe space for women whatsoever, it feels like it's a great time to be horny on on Maine.
He's not gonna call you Keanu's not gonna call you back and be like, oh, all right, well you posted something positive about me. Would you like to go out and have sex immediately?
Right.
If you did it for a normal person, the thirst would have consequences and wouldn't be as safe.
Totally. In a way, I don't feel like it's much different than probably how things used to be. In the 50s when you had the teen magazines and the teen fan clubs, and they would all meet and
from
do
the
it.
Mickey Mouse Club. I think my dad liked her.
It's doing that in that version as opposed to now we just do it online. So I think there was a tweet that was every day there's a main character on Twitter, and your goal is to not want to be the main character for the day, except I think if you're horny for that person, if it's we're all thirsting. So Keanu is really going through this renaissance online that people have just
Because of the John Wick films, and also he's redoing Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
And are you happy that he's reprising that role, or do you kind of wish he stayed young forever in your eyes?
I mean, I think Keanu, like so many men, is just aging really well, and he's like kept the long hair.
Yes.
And I think he's just always been a generally like, I don't know, just a good dude. He seems like very, like he just kind of keeps to himself. He likes his motorcycles.
He sits on his bench. He gives up his seat on the subway.
Yeah, he just like keeps to himself and doesn't cause trouble. And so people are like, wait, he's kind of like great. And I was like, he's always been great.
And was he your first kind of celebrity crush, or were there people before Keanu, and who were they?
Oh no, there were definitely
like in the 90s. You might be too young for 90s crushes, but you also have 90s nostalgia, which is cool.
Oh no, definitely not too young for definitely one of my first crushes as a child, before I even knew what that really was probably Goldblum in Jurassic Park, and then it was for sure I went through the hugest Leo DiCaprio phase because I saw, Romeo and Juliet, and then he followed it up with Titanic, and it was just like peak babe.
He would have dated. I mean, like he would have dated you. You were young enough where he probably would have dated.
Well,
you.
I mean, I was like. It's 7 or 8 at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the equivalent. That's the age gap he likes.
It's the age gap. Yeah, and he and I do share. I've mentioned this before on stage, but like he and I do share. We have the same birthday, so it's also like, okay, so we're both like Scorpios, 11/11. Like we have this connection, Leo. We both love the environment.
That's all it takes. Date me immediately.
Date me. We'll save the planet. It's fine. It's great. We're gonna save the sharks.
Has your crush kind of remained strong for Leo, or do you think he's falling off as a romantic hero in your life?
I think he's fallen off mostly because he insists on doing these really super serious movies, and I think Leo is actually a better actor when he's like fun Leo, as I call him, when he's doing
like Wolf of Wall Street or something.
Like a Wolf of Wall Street, a Catch Me If You Can, which is fantastic, or when you can just tell he's like able to have more fun on screen. I think when he's doing like a J. Edgar, it's not not really, The Revenant. Like I can't get turned on by a man getting mauled by a bear. It's just like
it's like him and a bear in Revenant, and then him and I think his gay male aide in J. Edgar Hoover, because wasn't Hoover a gay character in that film?
Well, I mean, Hoover was gay.
Was he?
Think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I get all my history from film.
Oh, well, that's a really smart idea.
But I think Leo also, like, he's not doing the same thing that like a Bradley Cooper is, or like a Matthew McConaughey, where they'll kind of pop up in a funny movie with even Matthew McConaughey and Wolf of Wall Street. That small little bit makes you love Matthew McConaughey more because he's beating his chest and he's humming and he's doing coke at the table, and him and Leo are just acting, and it's fun.
Right. Well, and he has. I think he had. When Philip Seymour Hoffman was alive, I think like
I just rented Boogie Nights last night, and I just love him so much. He's a scene stealer,
Yeah, and I just watched Along Came Polly a few nights ago, which I hadn't seen, and the movie is dumb, but his role is so great in it because he just makes the most of his screen time, and he like does all these pratfalls, and you can tell he's having a lot of fun, and
good.
But he's a person that also could always do the really like serious stuff, but it's just Leo. I need Leo to go back to like having fun, and I think he veered that way with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I'm like,
I've yet to see that. And were you also a Brad Pitt fan?
Oh yeah, loved Brad. Brad and I actually,
We also have the same birthday. We love the poor people, and he's building houses.
Yeah,
Date me immediately, Brad.
Brad grew up in Missouri, which is where I'm from.
Oh, I love it.
He and my mom grew up in the same town, and so Brad's grandmother and my great grandmother were in the same retirement facility. And so at one point when I was a kid, we were visiting my great grandmother, and we apparently missed seeing Brad by 30 minutes.
And did you love him back in the day? Like at that time when you missed him by 30 minutes?
I did. Brad was a little less on the radar, but I think I loved Brad because I was like, oh, we're from like we're from the same state. And like the long hair, like the Legends of the Fall hair was
Legends
really
of the Fall was
me.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even kind of liked him then, and I'm not gay, so I was like, Brad, man,
you're
turning people with that hair.
I know, I'm telling you, it's the hair. It's the hair in that movie.
And real quick, like 90s nostalgia, what are you nostalgic for? And are these things, it sounds like you're putting some sweet sweatshirts on, and like, are these 90s nostalgia or internet boyfriends, are they making their way into your act?
I mean, I love to find ways of working in references. I wrote a piece for the Belladonna online about like the Pussy Posse because
the Pussy Posse?
Yeah.
What is the Pussy Posse?
The Pussy
it just rolls right off the tongue, right?
It does. Well, I assumed that Leonardo DiCaprio is the president.
That's the Pussy Posse?
Is the
with
Pussy
Tobey
Posse.
Maguire, etc.?
With Tobey Maguire, who I think is probably the number 2.
Yeah, sure.
And my whole piece is about this. And then you have like David Blaine and like Lucas Haas. And I mean, it's like this whole group. And the fact that we've never had like a really, really, really super in-depth, even like a book on it.
Are you going to write it?
I was like, I would love to write the oral history of the Pussy Posse. But like,
there you go, pun intended.
That sounds so super gross.
Yeah. But that would have to be the title. Yeah, that would have to be the title.
But I think they're all probably litigious people.
Yes.
So, no, so I love making references to that kind of stuff. I do love, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so there's all these great movies that I love. I love slipping in a lot of pop culture references.
And is it sad if they don't get it? Like if you have an audience whose age is a little bit all over the place and some of them might not get it.
Yes. I was just speaking to a friend of mine who he was like, one of my ex-girlfriends had never seen and didn't know what the movie When Harry Met Sally was. And I was like, it's probably for the best that relationship didn't work. I mean, so I am always it's always a little upsetting when you make a joke about something, referencing something, and especially something that's like so specific to my experience that
you just love it and you want to make sure they love it too. It's like, why are you guys my audience? Like, why am I standing here in front of you if you don't like the same things I like? Right.
But I mean, I think about stuff like, if you work in like a Tamagotchi reference or a Furby reference, those are things that are like still enough in the consciousness that like even people behind me knew what that, because I always say things about like, I'm like, I don't know that I can have kids. I couldn't even keep a Tamagotchi alive. Like, I just don't think I'm ready for parenthood when I can't keep, this like digital pet alive.
How do you kill a Tamagotchi? So is that like a pet rock where you just have to like, all right, I'm feeding it right now, I'm pushing a button, and I missed the feeding and he died?
They came as that little like egg shape. And I had one of the ones, it was during that period of the 90s when they made everything see-through. You had like the see-through phone so you could see
that was
the
cool.
inner workings.
Right? I had the purple. Do you have one of those now?
No.
You wish you had one of those.
But I had the purple see-through Game Boy Color.
Nice.
And then I had a pink see-through Tamagotchi. And it had, I think part of my problem is I didn't know how to work it because it has like 3 buttons on the bottom.
Okay.
And it's like working, one of these digital watches where you have to like press certain things in a certain order.
Oh, that's stupid.
And so I was like, I don't know how to feed this. And no wonder it's always crying and in a pile of its own shit. Like, because I don't know how to take care of it. So.
And with a real child, you would figure it out pretty quickly.
Well, there's no buttons to push. Yeah. So it's...
I think I'm going to do a good job. There's no buttons to push.
But then I think about, like, they told us all that if we bought a bunch of Beanie Babies, we could pay for college. And so now I have a drawer full of Beanie Babies. And a pile of student loans, so something didn't work out there,
But now it's like you can take the Beanie Babies and like, let your kids play with it. So it's like when, in promising you the world with these Beanie Babies, they really just were preparing you for motherhood.
I guess.
They're like, now she's going to have kids just to, make sure
I'm going to put them in a plastic case with a tag protector and make sure that they're okay.
And so if people want to find you online, you're Emmy Lane Potter across all social platforms.
Across all social platforms. Okay. I have to redo my website because I hate it.
Oh, you also have an Emmy Lane Potter website?
Yes, it's at Wix, but
Wix.
I'm looking for a web designer, so
hit me
up.
out there.
But I also write a couple different for a couple different outlets online, like Consequence of Sound and Brightwell Dark Room. So I do have a couple pieces heading that way, but I'm on Twitter constantly, unfortunately.
Yes, and you're retweeting things like, is it Jane Fonda's hats?
Yes.
That was great. I loved it. And like when she tweets, she will tweet a storm of tweets. And so I saw 4 or 5 just hilarious pictures with Jane Fonda in hats.
Well, and it was such a bad week online, Brian, with the primaries that I had to do something to distract myself. And I thought, what can I do? What would make me happy? Let's just share a bunch of photos of Jane Fonda in hats.
Oh, I love that. And that's what you can expect from Emmy Lane Potter. And you can also maybe, when her Caveat show returns, it will be every Sunday or so.
It's usually at least once a month. So it's on Sundays at Caveat. And it's with a Great Week for Women, which is also on Twitter. And it's GR8.
Great Week for Women.
Great Week for Women.
Good. And so, like, if your show doesn't resume at Caveat anytime soon, Great Week for Women might also have some other shows that you guys are doing.
Possibly, yeah. And a lot of our members are very active doing stand-up and other shows. So, it's a great group of people.
Dude, follow her. It's hilarious. Jane Fonda's hats. Emmy Lane Potter, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.